My wife demanded that I apologize to her male best friend. I'm a cook because I upset him. Fine, I agreed. I went to his house. His wife opened the door, and right in front of both of them, I said something my wife never expected, and everything changed. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story like this one. Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always love seeing where everyone's watching from around the world. A quiet evening at home. The air feels calm on the surface, but tension simmers underneath. The narrator, Ryan, 35 years old, sits on the living room couch after a long day at work. He's scrolling through his phone, trying to decompress, when his wife Jenna storms through the front door. Jenna is 33, usually warm and easygoing, but tonight her face is flushed with anger. "You need to go apologize to Evan," she announces, her voice sharp and demanding. "You embarrassed him last night in front of everyone." Ryan looks up, genuinely confused. He replays the previous evening in his mind. A casual dinner with friends, nothing dramatic, nothing heated. All he had done was casually ask a simple question. Why was Evan texting Jenna at midnight on a Tuesday? It wasn't accusatory. It wasn't loud. Just a question. But Jenna's reaction now tells a different story. She crosses her arms tightly across her chest, her jaw set in that stubborn way Ryan has come to recognize over their 7 years of marriage. "He's sensitive, Ryan. You know that? You upset him with your tone, your implication. Just go apologize. Tomorrow. Make this right." Ryan feels something shift inside him. Not anger exactly, but a cold realization creeping up his spine like ice water. She's defending Evan, protecting him, prioritizing his feelings, not her husband's. Ryan sits there in silence for a moment, watching his wife pace back and forth across their living room, her phone clutched in her hand like a lifeline. Is she texting him right now, reassuring him that everything's fine, that she's handling her unreasonable husband? The thought makes Ryan's stomach turn. Voiceover. When your wife protects another man's feelings more than yours, pay attention. That's not friendship. That's priority. And you should never be second in your own marriage. Ryan's mind races back through the past few months, maybe even the past year. The patterns he'd been ignoring, dismissing, explaining away, they suddenly snap into focus like a photograph developing in a dark room. Everything becomes crystal clear. The late-night texts that made her smile in bed next to him, her face illuminated by the blue glow of her screen. When he'd ask, "What's so funny?" she'd always say, "Oh, just Evan being Evan," and never elaborate further. The inside jokes she shared with Evan that Ryan was never part of, never explained. References that would make both of them laugh while Ryan stood there feeling like an outsider in his own marriage. The way her voice changed when she talked to Evan on the phone, lighter, younger, almost girlish. A tone she used to use with Ryan during their dating years but hadn't in a long time. The times she'd get dressed up to meet Evan for coffee, full makeup, her best jeans, that perfume Ryan had bought her for her birthday. But when they had date nights, it was yoga pants and a ponytail, the way she'd mention him constantly. Evan said the funniest thing today. Evan thinks we should try that new restaurant. Evan recommended this show. Always Evan, always his opinion mattering, his thoughts being shared, his presence felt even when he wasn't physically there. How many times had Ryan brushed it off, told himself he was being paranoid, insecure, controlling? How many times had he reminded himself that Evan was married too, that Jenna would never actually cross that line, that they were just close friends from college? But close friends don't text at midnight. Close friends don't make your spouse feel like a third wheel. Close friends don't cause your partner to defend them more passionately than they defend you. But here she is now, in their home, demanding he apologize to another man for having the audacity to question why that man needs to text his wife after midnight. Ryan makes a decision. He looks up at Jenna with a calm, quiet smile. "You're right," he says simply. "I'll apologize." Jenna stops pacing immediately. Her whole body language changes. Shoulders relax, face softens. She even smiles. "Good," she says, her voice dripping with relief and what Ryan can only describe as smugness. "Thank you. Go to his house tomorrow. Just make it right, okay? He's really hurt." Ryan nods slowly, keeping his expression neutral. "I will. I'll go tomorrow afternoon." Jenna actually sighs with relief and sits down on the couch next to him. She even touches his arm affectionately, like everything's fine now, like he's finally come to his senses. "I knew you'd understand," she murmurs. "Evan's been my best friend since college. You know how important he is to me?" Yes, Ryan thinks. I'm starting to understand exactly how important. But he says nothing. Just nods. Agrees. plays the role of the apologetic husband who's learned his lesson. What Jenna doesn't know is that Ryan has already noticed everything. He's not blind, not stupid, not oblivious. He's seen the way Evan looks at Jenna when they're all together. That lingering gaze that lasts just a second too long. He's noticed how Jenna always seems to have a story about something funny Evan said, something sweet Evan did. He's watched her defend Evan in conversations, make excuses for him, justify his behavior when others in their friend group call him out. And now this, demanding her own husband apologize for asking a reasonable question about inappropriate contact. Ryan decides in that moment that he's not going to confront her directly. He's not going to argue or accuse. He's not going to give her the chance to gaslight him, to make him feel crazy, to twist the narrative. He's going to let the truth reveal itself. Voiceover. People expose themselves when they think they're safe, when they think they've won. That's when they get careless. That's when the mask slips. That night, Jenna sleeps peacefully beside him, her phone face down on the nightstand. Ryan stares at the ceiling, planning his next move. Tomorrow, he'll go apologize to Evan. But not the way Jenna expects. The next afternoon, Ryan drives across town to Evan's house. The neighborhood is nice, upper-middle-class suburban, the kind where every lawn is perfectly manicured and every house looks like it belongs in a home improvement magazine. Evan's house is a nice 2-story colonial with light gray siding, white trim, and a well-maintained lawn dotted with ornamental bushes. A 2-car garage sits closed, and a decorative wreath hangs on the front door, the kind of place that screams normal, happy family. Ryan pulls into the driveway and sits in his car for a moment, engine off, hands still gripping the steering wheel. His heart is pounding, not from fear exactly, but from anticipation, from the weight of what he's about to do. He rehearses it one more time in his head. The words, the tone, calm, clear, truthful. He takes a deep breath, counts to 3, and gets out of the car. The afternoon sun is warm on his back as he walks up the front path. He notices the details, a child's bike leaning against the garage. No, wait, they don't have kids. Some potted plants on the porch, a doormat that says, "Welcome friends." How ironic. Ryan reaches up and presses the doorbell. He can hear it chime inside, a pleasant melodic sound. Footsteps approach from inside. Multiple footsteps, actually. Voices. The door swings open. But it's not Evan standing there. It's Evan's wife, Melissa. She's 32, with warm brown eyes and shoulder-length auburn hair pulled back in a casual ponytail. She's wearing black yoga pants and an oversized gray sweater that hangs off one shoulder. She looks comfortable, relaxed, at home, someone who has no idea that her world is about to shift on its axis. "Hey, Ryan," she says cheerfully, her face breaking into a genuine smile of surprise and pleasure. "What a nice surprise. I didn't know you were stopping by. Come in, come in." She steps back and opens the door wider, gesturing for him to enter. Ryan steps across the threshold, his heart pounding even harder now. There's no turning back. The house smells like vanilla candles and fresh laundry, that specific scent of a well-kept home. Family photos line the hallway walls in matching frames. Melissa and Evan on their wedding day, both of them young and beaming. Vacation pictures from what looks like Hawaii or maybe Mexico. Shots of them hiking at a baseball game with their golden retriever. The picture of a normal, happy marriage, just like Ryan thought he had. "Evan," Melissa calls toward the back of the house. "Ryan's here." There's a pause, then footsteps. Evan appears from the kitchen, and Ryan watches his face go through several expressions in rapid succession. Confusion, surprise, and then something that looks a lot like fear. "Ryan," Evan says slowly. What are you doing here?" His voice is tight, nervous. Melissa looks between them, still smiling but now slightly confused. "Is everything okay?" she asks. "Did you guys have plans?" Ryan shakes his head. "Not exactly. I actually came to talk to both of you." Melissa's eyebrows raise slightly. Evan's face goes a shade paler. "Both of us?" Melissa asks, gesturing toward the living room. "Well, come sit down then. Can I get you some coffee or water?" "I'm fine, thank you," Ryan says, following them into the living room. They all sit down, Melissa and Evan on the couch together, Ryan in an armchair across from them. Melissa leans forward slightly, her expression open and curious. "So, what's going on? You two had some kind of disagreement?" Evan shifts uncomfortably on the couch. He won't meet Ryan's eyes. Voiceover. The room went quiet, except for the truth trying to crawl out from wherever Evan thought he'd buried it. Ryan takes a breath and looks directly at Evan. "Actually, I'm here because Jenna told me I needed to apologize to you," he says clearly, his voice carrying across the room. Melissa's head tilts slightly. Apologize for what? Ryan keeps his eyes on Evan, watching every micro-expression, every nervous twitch. Well, Ryan says slowly, at dinner the other night, I asked Evan why he was texting my wife at midnight. Apparently that upset him, made him uncomfortable. Melissa's expression shifts, just slightly, but Ryan catches it. Her brow furrows. Her smile fades. Midnight? She repeats quietly. Evan starts to speak. It wasn't like that. It was just... But Ryan continues, his voice louder, clearer, cutting through the room like a knife. So I want to apologize for assuming something inappropriate was going on between you and my wife. The silence that follows is deafening. Melissa's whole body goes rigid. She slowly, very slowly, turns her head to look at her husband. Evan's face has gone from pale to bright red. His mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. That's not... Ryan, you're twisting... Melissa's voice, when it comes, is barely above a whisper. Why would he think that, Evan? Evan looks panicked now, his eyes darting between his wife and Ryan. Because he's paranoid. Because he doesn't understand that men and women can be friends. I've known Jenna since college, Melissa, you know that. I do know that, Melissa says, and her voice is getting harder now, sharper. What I don't know is why you're texting her at midnight. We were just talking about... About what, Evan? Melissa stands up abruptly. About what exactly? Evan stumbles over his words, his story changing even as he tries to tell it. Work stuff? No, actually she was upset about something and... Which is it? Melissa's voice cracks like a whip. Ryan remains seated, silent, watching it all unfold. Voiceover. You don't need to attack someone when they're already destroying themselves. Sometimes you just need to speak the truth out loud and let it do the work. Melissa suddenly walks out of the room. Both men can hear her footsteps going upstairs. Evan turns on Ryan, his voice desperate and angry. What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you do this? Ryan stays calm. I came to apologize, just like my wife told me to. You know exactly what you're doing. Melissa returns. She's holding Evan's phone. Give me the password, she says flatly. Evan's face goes white again. Melissa, come on, this is ridiculous. Give me the password. This is an invasion of privacy. Give me the damn password, Evan. The explosion of emotion is startling in the quiet suburban home. Melissa is shaking, her eyes bright with unshed tears and fury. Evan refuses, shakes his head, crosses his arms, and that tells Melissa everything she needs to know. She looks at Ryan, and something passes between them. An understanding, a shared knowing. Thank you for coming over, Melissa says quietly to Ryan. I think you should go now. Ryan nods and stands. As he walks to the door, he can hear Evan behind him, voice rising. Melissa, please, just let me explain. Pack a bag, Melissa says, her voice cold and final. You're staying somewhere else tonight. Ryan closes the front door behind him and walks to his car. Voiceover. You don't need evidence when guilt walks into the room on its own 2 feet. Ryan is barely through his front door when his phone starts buzzing in his pocket. Multiple calls in rapid succession, all from Evan's number. He pulls out his phone, sees Evan's name flashing on the screen, and lets it ring through to voicemail. Again and again. Then the texts start flooding in. What the fuck did you do? You just destroyed my marriage. Melissa won't talk to me. Answer your phone, you fucking coward. This is your fault. You made something out of nothing. Ryan reads each one, his face expressionless, and then deletes them without responding. But he does watch the pattern. Evan calls him 3 times in 5 minutes. Then there's a gap, maybe 10 minutes of silence. Ryan can imagine what's happening in that gap. Evan is calling someone else, someone he thinks will understand, will comfort him, will take his side. Jenna. Sure enough, 20 minutes after Ryan walked through his door, his phone rings again. This time it's his wife's number on the screen. He considers not answering, letting her stew, but curiosity gets the better of him. He answers on the 3rd ring. Ryan! She's already screaming before he even has a chance to say hello. Her voice is shrill, panicked, furious. What the hell did you do? Evan just called me sobbing. He's completely devastated. His wife threw him out of the house. She won't even let him come back to get his things. Why would you humiliate him like that? Why would you ambush him in his own home? Ryan walks to the kitchen, opens the refrigerator, and pulls out a beer. He opens it with one hand while holding the phone to his ear with the other. He keeps his voice level and calm, which only seems to enrage Jenna more. I didn't humiliate him. I did exactly what you told me to do. I went to his house, and I apologized. You know that's not... You told Melissa about the text. You made it sound like we were having an affair or something. You made it sound like something it wasn't. Ryan takes a long drink of his beer. I told the truth, he says simply. I said I was apologizing for assuming something inappropriate was going on, and it scared him. Funny how the truth works like that, isn't it? There's a pause on the line. Ryan can hear Jenna breathing hard, trying to compose herself, trying to find the right words to make him the villain in this story. Come home, she finally says. Right now. We need to talk about this. Ryan looks around their house. His house, really, since he's the one who paid the down payment. Talk? He asks. Or explain why your best friend's wife is currently packing his bags. This isn't about... You're making this into something it's not... Then what is it, Jenna? Explain it to me. Silence. Then the line goes dead. She hung up on him. Ryan sits down on the couch, his phone still in his hand, and waits. His phone buzzes again. But this time it's not Jenna or Evan. It's a text from an unknown number. This is Melissa. I got your number from Evan's phone. Can we talk? Ryan types back. Of course. Her reply comes quickly. I found a hidden messaging app. He tried to delete it but didn't realize I could still recover some of the messages. You were right. Thank you for having the courage to say something. Most people wouldn't. Ryan stares at that message for a long time. He texts back, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. She signed her messages with a heart emoji, my husband, my wife, and they thought no one would notice. It's nearly 10 p.m. when Jenna finally comes home. Ryan has been sitting at the dining room table for over an hour. There's a glass of whiskey in front of him, amber liquid catching the light from the pendant lamp overhead. He hasn't touched it. It's more of a prop, something to hold, something to look at instead of checking his phone every 30 seconds. He hears her car pull into the driveway. The engine cuts off. A car door slams, harder than necessary. Then nothing. She's sitting out there, gathering herself, deciding what to say. Finally, after what feels like 10 minutes, but is probably only 2, the front door opens. Jenna walks in, and Ryan barely recognizes her. Her face is streaked with tears and smudged mascara that she hasn't bothered to wipe away. Her hair, usually so carefully styled, is disheveled and tangled. Her clothes are wrinkled. She looks like she's been crying for hours, and she probably has. She looks devastated. But Ryan feels nothing. Or maybe he feels everything, and it's all so overwhelming that it just reads as nothing. She stands in the doorway of the dining room, her purse still hanging from her shoulder, her keys clutched in one hand. She looks at him across the room, across what suddenly feels like a vast distance, like they're on opposite sides of a canyon. Neither of them speaks for a long moment. The silence is heavy, oppressive, filled with all the words they haven't said and all the truths they've been avoiding. Finally, Jenna drops her purse on the floor with a thud and walks slowly to the table. She pulls out the chair across from Ryan and sits down heavily, like her legs won't hold her anymore. She puts her elbows on the table and buries her face in her hands. Then she looks up at him, her eyes red and swollen. Explain, she whispers, her voice hoarse from crying. The word hangs between them. Ryan almost laughs at the audacity of it, the sheer nerve. She's the one who's been texting another man at midnight, prioritizing his feelings over her husband's, defending him at every turn, and she wants him to explain? He leans back in his chair, studying his wife like she's a stranger. When did she become someone he doesn't recognize? When did the woman he fell in love with, the woman who laughed at his stupid jokes and held his hand during scary movies and promised to be honest always, when did she become this? No, he says quietly, but his voice is firm. You explain. Her face crumbles. Fresh tears spill down her cheeks. It wasn't... Nothing physical ever happened. The words tumble out desperately, frantically. Is that supposed to make it better? Ryan's voice is still calm, but there's an edge to it now. Yes! She's almost shouting now, her hands shaking on the table. Yes, it does. We were just friends. We just talked. That's all it was. Just talking. You talked. At midnight. Every night. With hearts and inside jokes and secrets you kept from me, with that special voice you used to use only with me. You're being unreasonable, she starts, but her voice falters. Am I? Ryan finally picks up his whiskey and takes a long drink. The burn feels appropriate. Feels real in a way nothing else does right now. Tell me something, Jenna. When was the last time you texted me at midnight just to talk? When was the last time you defended me the way you defend him? When was the last time you got dressed up and excited to see me? When you insisted I apologize, he says slowly, it wasn't because I upset Evan. It was because I upset you. I got too close to the truth, so you tried to make me the bad guy, make me feel guilty for noticing what was right in front of me. Jenna shakes her head, but she can't form words. Tell me one thing, Ryan says, and I'll know if you're lying. Do you love him? The question hangs in the air between them. Jenna's mouth opens, closes, opens again. I don't know, she finally whispers. And there it is. The truth? Not, no, of course not. Not, don't be ridiculous. But I don't know. Ryan nods slowly and stands up. Then I think you have some things to figure out, and you should do that somewhere else. Ryan, please. I'll be staying at a hotel tonight, he says, walking toward the bedroom to pack a bag. When I come back tomorrow, I'd appreciate it if you were staying with a friend. Not Evan, obviously. He can hear her sobbing behind him as he walks away. Voiceover. When someone insists you apologize for speaking the truth, it's usually because the truth makes them nervous. It pulls at threads they don't want unraveled. It shines light in corners they need to keep dark.